who do people think actually won last night's debate? In the wake of it, I gave my opinion that I think Walz told the truth more. So I think he did a good job in that respect. But I could see why more people would think that Vance had won coming out of this. And certainly considering that the bar was set so low with the last debate with Trump doing terribly, Vance didn't need to do that well to seem like he did really well. And so I gave him the win. Well, when you ask regular people, both in the immediate aftermath of the debate and now by the next morning, it's actually pretty split, more so than even I would have thought. So immediately following the debate, 51% of viewers, this is in a CNN instant poll, said that Vance did a better job. 49% said Walz. It is about as close as it could be. And in a survey conducted of the same voters prior to the debate, Walz held the advantage as the candidate they expected to perform more strongly, although even that was pretty close, 54 to 45. So I think it's safe to say narrow win to him, a technical win to Vance. And Vance, I guess, exceeded expectations more than Walz, who maybe underperformed in that respect. So that was the immediate aftermath. Then you give people a little bit of time to think about it. And by this morning, we have a CBS poll. 42% of debate watchers say that Vance won the debate. 41% say that Walz actually won, with 17% saying that it was a tie. And by the way, if 17% explicitly say that it's a tie, and almost the exact percentage say that one or the other won, I think that at this point we can fairly definitively say it was a tie, effectively. And considering that VP debates very rarely have much of an effect on the election anyway, one in which people seem perfectly split on who won is probably unlikely to have much of a big effect on the actual election. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have some effects. I'm gonna throw out a couple more numbers, Sharon, and then I want your thoughts. So do you think that the candidates are qualified to be president if necessary? And they asked people before and after the debate. So for Walz, he went from 62% saying yes to that before the debate to 65 after. So a couple percentage points, people were swayed by the debate performance to say I could see him being president, and only about 1 in 3 say that he could. Now, for Vance, 58% came out of the debate saying that he was qualified, with 50% saying that beforehand. So Vance saw a bigger increase in that number, although even after the debate, fewer Americans think that he's qualified than thought that Walz was even before the debate. So he's still trailing in that way. 59% of debate watchers said that they had a favorable view of Tim Walz, just 22% viewing him unfavorably. Those are really good numbers for a politician in the modern era. He was already at 46-32, so that's a nice big jump of favorability coming out of this one performance. Now, in terms of Vance, 41% rated him favorably, 44% unfavorably. So that's better than he's polled before, but he's still underwater. It's an improvement from beforehand. He had been at 30 favorable, 52 unfavorable. People really didn't like him. And they still don't tend to like him, but they like him a little bit better. So I guess that's pretty good. Walz boosted his favorability far more among women than men. Vance's gains were about the same amount voters of both genders, which is good, I guess. And part of that was he completely lied about everything he's ever said about abortion. So that helped him, I think, among some women viewers. And 1 in 5 Trump supporters said that they now have a favorable view of Walz. Vance is at just 8% among Harris supporters. So there's a lot more conservatives that like Walz than liberals that like Vance, which I think makes all the sense in the world. But Sharon, what do you make of all this?
I think the polls are a little bit dangerous because, in essence, you are grading on a curve here. We forget what's going on here. All JD had to do last night was look human, just be human. Go from a non-empathetic little guy who just wants to take away people's cats and their wombs, control over them anyway, and just be a little empathetic. And so he faked it really well. That's why it's like the Terminator movie to me. It's just so weird. But they expected Governor Walz to be perfect, like this Friday Night Lights performance. And that's why I think the polls are a little bit, it's just tricky because it's grading on a curve and I don't like it, but it is where we are. So people are always giving the other side, Trump, Vance, this extra boost for just not being too devilish. Okay. Yeah. Where, Kamala Harris, Governor Walz have to be picture perfect. And it just sucks.
Yeah, no, I do agree. The expectations game. I mean, look, Donald Trump being a part of politics has totally thrown off how things are interpreted. It's normalized a lot of insanity. And it was for Vance, like the main goal was go out there, don't look crazy. Try to make the ticket look a little bit less crazy. And I think that he did that. I think that he looked a lot less crazy, obviously, than Donald Trump did. I mean, virtually anyone would. People, standing on street corners screaming look more sane than Donald Trump. But he also looked a lot more sane than he does in other venues. So I don't know what percentage of the people that watched the debate have watched a lot of other Vance footage, but like take a look at Vance on the debate stage. Like, oh, it's all bipartisanship, it's all understanding, all that. Then put him on a right-wing podcast and have him talk about groups that he doesn't like. Slight difference there. Whereas Tim Walz, he was being Tim Walz. That's who he is. That's how he sounds. That's how he talks about things. He evaluates groups in the same way on the debate stage and in other venues. But for JD Vance, where were all the lines about how the childless cat ladies don't deserve a say in politics and should be paying more in taxes and all that? Weird that you're being quiet about that stuff now. But anyway, it annoys me. We'll see how much effect it has on other people. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.